Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the last part and the fourth episode of this series. What is knowledge? We have been talking about knowledge, trying to demystify knowledge. Okay, and we've gotten to the last part, guys. Welcome. Make sure you watch the other ones. It's going to give you a deeper understanding of things. I think like this will help you because it did help me get around many claims that you see online and stuff. Anyway, so we've discussed knowledge, we've discussed what is it, who can attain it. Is knowledge about content or is it about conclusions? Is knowledge, do I have to be a good person to have knowledge? Do I have to agree with you to have knowledge? And this final example is the real life example that I talked about. I'm going to show you. So what happened? There's a scholar called Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi. Okay, this scholar is from Egypt. He recently died. May Allah forgive him. Okay, and when you see this, you just think about every other similar examples too. Now, after he died, what happened? This scholar, he has many controversial opinions. Okay, he gave so many fatwas that people are like, what is this? How can you give this kind of fatwa and stuff? Now, with the background of all the videos that we've made, I'll show you what happened. So, this scholar, does he have knowledge? That's the question. Does he have knowledge? Definitely, he does have knowledge. He's a scholar. He has knowledge. That content, we'll talk about content first. He has the content of knowledge. Remember, we are trying to be objective. We are trying to demystify knowledge. You adding morality or people agreeing with your conclusions to knowledge, you are the one causing the problem. Does he have knowledge? Everyone will say yes. He has studied the books. He knows it. If you ask him a particular, what is the view of this on this, he knows it. Especially in faith, I think. He knows more than you, especially those of you that started making videos online, okay? And you are using correspondence instead of justifiable theory, like we talked about in the last video. They started coming out, okay? Especially from the Salafis, and they started making refutation videos of the scholar after he died. And even before he died, to be fair, they've been making these videos before he died too. So they refute this scholar, and I'm like, why are you doing this? I'm not saying you cannot refute anybody, but what's going on? I realized that, wait, the first thing is that this person that they are refuting has more knowledge than them. Why? Because he's a scholar. He is an authority, someone that people go to actually for fatwa. Okay, they don't come to you internet guy, to come and receive fatwa. Nobody takes you as an authority, but you felt the need to like make a video against him. Fair enough. But I'll show you your problem. Okay, so many Salafi young people or dies online, they started making reputation videos saying that which kind of this and this is this. So in the way, whether you agree with them or not, the point I'm making is this: the person that they are talking about has knowledge. Okay, nobody should be able to not understand that. If you don't understand that, just go and watch the other videos I've made, especially the second episode will help you. If you think if you don't understand when I say he has knowledge. Okay, so knowledge is empirical. Anyone can attain it. Anyone can just go and study the books and he knows it. And he can give her to any other thing you want to add to it, like moral perfection, like agreeing with your conclusion, that's not knowledge. That's extra, okay? Extra stuff. There are good qualities for someone to be morally perfect and knowledgeable. That's perfect. For someone to maybe have the right opinion and still be knowledgeable, that's also an addition. But knowledge itself doesn't have anything to do with that. Okay, so anyway, so they started refuting Sheikh Yusuf Al-Qaradawi, and even people online that they don't have knowledge really, they started doing it. So I'm saying, and they are refuting him based on the principle of correspondence, of looking at him as if he doesn't know what he's talking about, whereas he does. He actually knows what he's talking about because he has studied the field. He's a scholar of the field. But what they disagree with is his conclusions. Okay, they don't agree with his conclusions, and maybe because he has some other ideas, not necessarily on that issue, but they will use it to cancel him as if he doesn't know what he's talking about, whereas he does. And what does he do every single time? He provides justification. Remember, we were talking about justification. You cannot get correspondence out of some of these things. Some of these things, environments can change it. Situation, the time you're living in, can change some of these parameters that will make you take a decision that is totally different. Okay, so anytime he gives a fatwa or anything controversial, he provides evidence for it. If you're a scholar, what you will do is you will say, you know what, he's not lying. But I disagree with your conclusions here. You are not a bad person. You are not evil. You are not evil. You are not a bad person. You are not all of this. I just don't agree with your justification. It will reduce the polemicism a little bit. You can disagree with somebody and it will not turn into war and doubting if the person has knowledge. Okay, and some of these things and condescending approach towards people that are actually more knowledgeable than you, just because of conclusion and just because you're using some kind of correspondence, because you are assuming you've already attained the truth. And if you take this principle that you've already attained the truth on every issue, anybody that disagrees with you will look like they are consciously denying the truth. That's what it will look like they are consciously denying the truth, whereas it's not the case. They have another justification for their own conclusions too. So instead of A and not A, we have A, B, C, D, and E, and as many as possible. And the ones that makes the most sense, let people decide that. Okay, but most people, they make it this kind of A and not A, because there are scholars that said A. Anybody that says anything else, even slightly different, they will want it to be like not A, so that nobody can even take that approach, whereas it's not the case. Provide your evidences and backing for your position and let people be the judge. Okay, so this is a perfect example of what I've been discussing all along. So the next time you see somebody, he knows, no, understand that knowledge part is actually easy. I'm not saying it's easy, everything, if you don't dedicate your time and effort, is not easy, and Allah makes it easy for some people. But for example, to memorize the Quran, 7 years old people memorize the Quran. You can go and get that knowledge. What you do with it afterwards, that's your own business. But if we ask you, read this verse, Surah Maryam, this verse in Surah Maryam, you read it, you know it, that's knowledge. Whether you apply the Quran in your life, that's another thing entirely. So many people always lump it together. I'm not saying it shouldn't go together, but when we are trying to be objective, we always separate it. And this is a perfect example. A scholar that has more knowledge than most of all the people. Go and check online. All of them that are talking on YouTube, insulting this sheikh, they probably don't have his level of scholarship. But they are in another madhab, or they are in another akida, or whatever. And because of that, they felt it necessary. They thought, we can talk about him too. And another thing, before I end this video, they don't realize is that, why can't we, the people that are following his own understanding, why can't they do that to your own scholars? And by the way, to be fair, they do too. They return the favor too. They don't respect your own scholars too, because you felt it necessary that I can talk about him. They feel it necessary to talk about your own scholars too, without any respect whatsoever. And because they disagree with your scholars too. And by the way, you think I'm not talking about Salafis alone. This thing is not a Salafi issue. It always happens when people have a position that they cannot get this kind of scientific correspondence to it, that they want it to be that everybody it should be self-evident for everybody, but it's not. They cannot accept the fact that it's probabilistic, to say the least. It's probabilistic. Yeah, I think 70%. Most people are not comfortable with 70% truth. They want it to be 100%. If it's not 100%, and by the way, I forgot to mention this in that last video, it's probabilistic. When I say justifiable theory of truth, sometimes it's probabilistic. It could be wrong. Would you accept that? Alhamdulillah, it's not on all issues that we have this probabilistic stuff. But, for example, we agree on many things, like existence of God, the Prophet ﷺ, and many things like that. But the other things, you have to be open-minded. And it's probabilistic, and if you think that you don't even have knowledge and you're refuting a scholar, okay? So if you do it to them, when they do it to you, don't come and cry and say, why are you insulting our scholars? Don't you see nobody will take you seriously at that moment. To save us a lot of polemics, and people will actually start thinking. That's what I think. If people understand this thing about knowledge and truth, they will start examining each claim based on its justification. Does it make sense? What are the evidences that have been provided? Both of them are providing evidences. Both of them have the knowledge. Why did they disagree? Let me see and understand why they disagree and see which one makes more sense. You will not be scared. No one will scare you with Jahannam and stuff anymore. you'll be able to see clearly. And this is what I hope that people that watch this channel, they will be able to, every single time, examine people and their ideas. Examine ideas, okay? More importantly, examine the principles behind somebody's ideas. Don't take his personality into it every time. Examine what is he saying even. Does it make sense? Before you attack him personally. Anyway, if you've benefited from this video, let me see what you think. If you've not watched the other ones, just check. I've made four episodes on this, so I hope it's beneficial. If I said anything wrong, may Allah forgive me, and may Allah increase us in knowledge and forgive us our sins. Okay, see, we know and yet we sin. May Allah forgive us, I swear. So anyway, let me see what you think in the comment section. See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.